Hey there guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion. We are on number 228, and unfortunately I am not joined by Scarhoof today. We did not figure out a way to do it today, so I'm going to do this solo, but it is pretty awesome Friday Facts, actually. So, high-resolution turrets, and another cool feature as well with that. So we'll start off with bug fixing report. I'm going to just summarize this entire thing. Essentially, this is written by Potila. They are considering 0.16 to be quite stable at this point, as in not many crashes are being reported. In fact, they think they're at the phase where additional bug fixing makes the game less stable because, they introduce more bugs when they're actually trying to fix something or a critical bug slips through the system. So there's a few more issues that need to be resolved before we clear 0.16 stable and move on to 0.17 development. The largest issue being belt compression problems. So this is really good news to me because this means that based on how this is worded, that they do in fact plan to do something with belt compression in 0.16, which is good news. I wasn't sure if they stopped it or gave up, but the fact they do mention it here does give hope that there will be belt compression additions, whether it be with inserters or side loading or both. You can hopefully look forward to that in 0.16. They did fix the compatibility issue with OS X 10.9. This is just a ton of technical stuff. They're going to go migrating to OpenGL 4.1, which won't be available on Macs. Just some stuff will be outdated. So they have several reports of the game crashing and rendering on Linux, which they're working on. So they've been looking into corrupted saves this week. Apparently there's been some save files submitted with a link here to an example where they aren't really able to determine what's actually causing it, and they've been working on that. So hopefully that does get, fixed. So they talk about tile corruptions. The data for a chunk is allocated in 4KB by array at the beginning of the chunk. We could create custom allocator for chunks so that data structure representing chunk is aligned to virtual pages. That way tile data would occupy a whole single virtual page, which we could flag as read-only. So at the end, so it might just be easier to spend 2 hours on fixing a broken save that someone sends us every week or two. So that, they're working on bugs. So far, it seems pretty darn stable to me. And now we go on to the really, really good part. High-res turrets by V. So recently I've been working on high-resolution graphics for guns and laser turrets. The 3D models are pretty much exactly the same as Albert with Pavel made them back in 2015, but I just need to make them render correctly in our modern system. You can see the laser turret base is different, which we'll see in a minute. It was created a long time ago as well, just never used. With the high-resolution versions, we can now take the chance to alter the designs of entities. In this case, just use what we already have. We believe that the new stand fits much better to the laser turret as it doesn't need any super heavy basing and makes the two turrets more visually distinguishable, which I think is cool. I would probably, I don't know exactly how, I wouldn't think a laser would require a super strong base opposed to a turret, normal turret that's going to have kickback and stuff. Maybe a laser turret does, I don't know, but they are more distinguishable now. So they are still work in progress, but you can already see in the following mock-up, laser turrets are now going to shoot something we can actually call a laser. So this is the big part. First off, here are the graphics, and you can see they will now, not now that it's not out in an update yet, but once I do put this out, the lasers will now actually shoot a laser beam, not Star Wars style laser pew-pews. Not that I have anything against the Star Wars version, but I do kind of like the actual laser beam version better. And you can see, the base is different. It's just these details I think are really awesome. If you look here, you can see the little cord coming around and or the transistors or whatever and such. And he's sitting here as a little targeter, a scope. This guy's getting roasted. So that will be really cool that they now do that. So he goes on to say, it often happens that we make very nice graphics for the entity stuff, but spend less time on extra effects, which would really make it feel great in the game. Which I'm glad that they're realizing this because that's definitely true. That there's just these little things like the laser beam and such that would just make it seem so much better. In my opinion, a laser turret is a prime example of this. The laser beams have been ridiculed many beams, as in the pew pew versions, have been ridiculed many times in the many discussion threads, and now with the work on high resolution versions, it is now finally a good opportunity to change them. The way how it applies damage is probably going to have to change at least a little bit, along with a few other minor changes, so they might not make it into 0.16 to avoid any unnecessary problems, but we will see about that. I hope it makes it into 0.16, because I don't feel like waiting another 6 or 8 months for it, but you know, if it doesn't, it doesn't. Either way, the fact it's coming is really cool. And I would imagine, obviously, the damage may need to be changed a bit, because it's not going to be like, you know, it's going to be consistent damage rather than the, like, hit after hit damage that we have now. In the following action movie, you can see our very own Posela running away from the fauna of the unexplored planet full of life and natural resources, being saved by nothing other than his skills in laser turrets while his productive teammate watches the action unfold. And this is pretty cool. Check this out. So we'll let it run again. He's running away. Here they come, and the lasers, man. This looks pretty awesome. And you can see teammate is just standing there watching. It says productive. He's just like sitting there watching, waiting for his friend to die. At the safety of the turrets. But oh, you can even see a little train go by. I didn't notice that the first time I watched it. Little trains going by. They're up on a cliff here. I think this is totally awesome. I love it when they put together these little scenes like that. The Flamethrower turret is also going to receive some small graphical polishing with its high-resolution version. We will present that one some other time, as it's not ready yet. So that would be really cool. The Flamethrower turret, I think the Flamethrower turrets are really cool as is, so them upgrading them even more would just be awesome. And that is the end of it. So let's know what you think on the forums. Speaking of the forums, someone did post an interesting question that I hadn't seen answered yet when I looked. Is they wondered if like the laser beam color would change based on the person who placed it, or if maybe it would change with upgrades. Would be kind of cool. Now, in regards to that, if you guys do want laser beams already, like if you want them now, Clonin actually made a mod. Clone is one of the devs. He made a mod quite a long time ago, and I believe he's updated it, that does add laser beams into the game. And why I say that kind of as a segue from the color thing is, last time I played with the mod, it may be different now, but when I played with it, he actually had different colored beams based on the upgrades you had for your lasers, which I thought was really cool. There was like red and blue and green, and I think there was a purple maybe, which would be really awesome. So I'm not sure if they're going to implement anything like that. Obviously the turret itself will change color based on who placed it, because that's how it works, but it would be cool if the laser beam did too, or maybe based on the upgrade would maybe make a little more sense. But that is pretty much this whole Friday Facts. If you want to read in depth the technical stuff, you can obviously check it out, link in the description as always to come here. But the turrets were the main thing for me. Really looking forward to those. I'm glad that 0.16 is close-ish to being stable, and then they can start working on 0.17, and it'll be pretty exciting. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave any thoughts you have down below. Always interested in reading through what you have to say, and hopefully next week Scarhoof will be joining us again. But until then, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.